Hello and welcome once again to another Wind in the Willows video review. This week it's Mayday, one of my absolute favourites, and very appropriate for this time of year because, well, Mayday obviously is usually the 1st of May, but this is another bank holiday weekend, so yeah, very appropriate. The weather here in 2019 is a bit hit and miss. 1 minute it's nice, 1 minute it's raining. I think it's pretty much the same all over the UK at the moment. But yeah, let's get into it. Mayday from Series 2. So I'm just going to hit play right now. There we go. So, Mayday. This, like I say, it's one of my favourites. I consider this an absolute classic. And that's probably because it's one of the earliest episodes I remember seeing, because it was released on a video called Spring Follies that a lot of you may have heard of. Remember the seasonal videos that were released. So this one, yeah, I absolutely love it. It's just so ingrained in my memory. You know, I've seen it countless times, and it's funny because when I worked with Barry Purvis, who directed this one, he said to me, I remember mentioning it, and he said he felt it was one of the weaker scripts, so they had to do a lot with it to make it interesting. But I don't see that. I personally think it's a good script, but maybe it's because I've just seen it so many times, and like I say, it's, you know, so ingrained. It's basically an episode where, you know, it's there's a fair set up in the grounds of Toad Hall. Everybody's there, all the field mice, the young, the weasels, a couple of human characters. You know, everybody is there, and it's great. I'll turn it up a little bit. And I love it because it's just, there's so much going on in it. It's funny. It's a good story. It's a typical story in terms of Toad being conned by the weasels, and I mean, there's many episodes where he doesn't recognise them, and they're dressed up again, they're in disguise. And look at that opening shot. Look at that. Look at the depth of that with that camera move. That must have been a really deep set. Barry, if you're there and you can comment on this, I'd love to hear a lot about this episode. I regret not talking to you more about it when we worked together, because this, like I say, I just know it so well. I like this opening where you hear Toad and Ratty sort of talking. We don't see them, but we see all this sort of this business between the weasels. You already can see they're sort of up to something, trying to get into Toad Hall. And of course, the chief succeeds there. So there we go. And one little secret there, something I found out, those balloons that you can see. Not balloons. Of course, you can't use real balloons. They don't quite work when they're miniature. They are, in fact, condoms, as I found out from Barry. Barry told me that. And that's such a... To me, that's iconic, that image of Mole in there. Probably because it was on the front cover of the video. It's very funny. The photographer there, he's one of the human characters. He was actually the puppet of the jailer in the film. And I just love it. I love the music choice as well. If you notice the music, an instrumental version of Shoe Spooner. One of the best songs in the whole series, I think, from the episode Winter Sports, which won't be reviewed until, for a long time yet, until next year, when we're into winter episode. But it's got a nice sort of fairground feel to it. I think it's a good choice of music there. And I love that scene there, you know, make him laugh even more, talking about over on Mole's cousin. And one of Toad would make him laugh even more, and that's Ratty being sarcastic again. But he's talking about Toad, just Toad on his own will make him laugh, and Toad can't work out what he means. I just love that. So here we have where the story really kicks off. We have the henchman, Weasel, going into the tent of Madame Castellingo, who is a fortune teller, and the Weasel here very cunningly talks her into escaping. Quite nasty, really. You know, this this story that he comes up with that Madame Pastalengo's son is in trouble, and the poor lady goes off searching for him, and of course the weasel's lying. And it's unusually for any series, it's something that isn't resolved. We don't see anything of this character again once she goes running for her poor son. We assume it's resolved, but we don't see it. So it's quite dark, this. You know, he's talking about a rabbit in pain, falling down a hole, and poor Madame Pastalengo is worried sick already. Look at that slow zoom in as well, really nice directing there, of kind of zooming in on them. And, it's becoming more intense, so it's very intimate now between the two of them. And even with the lighting, you know, you've got dark shadows around them there, you know, not a lot of light, just the light creeping in from the side there. And I think Brian Truman does a great job of the henchman in this episode. Just with that, I know. In the same vein of very nice, you got the I know. It's awful though, you know, seeing this as an adult, I think it's horrible. Turning into a laugh there, so very cunning. He's up to something. Now we're going to this wonderful. I love this scene. It is one of my favourite scenes in the whole series. It makes me laugh every time, and like I say, I've seen it countless times. And look at that crowd scene there. You can really get the sense of weight there. Ratty's struggling to lift that mallet, and it goes. Lovely animation of nearly getting to the bell. And groans, and then we have another human character, and that character there was the engine driver in the film, wearing pretty much the same clothes, I think. And his costume exists in the archive, thankfully. So, like I say, this scene, I love it so much that I actually ended up writing an essay on it. Would you believe? Well, you probably would believe it. You know what a fan I am. When I did my degree course back in, between 2000 and 2003. At some point on that degree, I wrote an essay on narrative, and we could pick a sequence in any film or TV series, and I talked about the camera shots and the choices, and learned a lot, you know, about why go for a wide shot there, why go for close up, and how do you build the tension and the comedy. Now here, Toad obviously having a go, and we think, oh, he's not going to get the bell, but we go a step further, he can't even lift the mallet. Look at the sweat there, I love that touch. He's sweating, I don't know what they would have used, probably Vaseline or something. Again, Barry, if you can enlighten us on what was used for Toad's sweat there, that'd be interesting. And there's a little touch, I don't know if you saw that, the stall owner just lifting the mallet with so much ease. Lovely character development of Toad, being very embarrassed and Mole here gets out of it by simply saying he hasn't got the build for it. So fair enough, he's admitting he hasn't got the build for it. Of course, we turn to Badger, and I love the timing here, the cut. And lovely, beautiful timing, and all the cuts here, the way it's all edited together. That shot of Toad, beautiful. Love it. And it's series 2, you know, obviously things did develop as the series went on into 3 and 4 in terms of animation and puppets and all that. But look at that shot of Toad there looking away at, perfect. Absolutely perfect. That look that he had in the eye, his eye looking up, and the face sort of down, cheekbones down. Love it. And I love this. I mean, my brother always used to laugh at this. Wonderful script writing. You don't really believe like rubbish, and Toad says, of course not, but I would like to know what's going to happen. Totally contradicted himself. I wasn't my, you know, I mentioned Candy Floss in last week's episode. Look at that. So realistic looking. And there's the key to it, what Mole says there. As long as you don't take it seriously. And Toad, yeah, as if you would take it seriously. Or Toad being Toad, we know as an audience. Of course, and Badger, of course, there. He will take it seriously. And off he goes. And who's Madame Pastelengro? Of course, the weasel. So we know there's trouble with brewing already. Toad, of course, suspects nothing. And this is a wonderful scene as well, you know. Again, Brian Truman, I mean, he wrote these scripts, and I think he would have had a good time playing the weasel here, or playing the weasel, playing Madame Pastelengro. And David Jason, again, does a great job here. I hope the two of them recorded together. I assume they did. Because they did most of the time on this series, but the timing is just so spot on between the two of them. And there aren't that many scenes of Toad and the henchman in the series. This is quite unusual. Another one that I can think of, a wonderful one, is in the episode Hot Air, when Toad's up in a hot air balloon with the henchman, and there's some wonderful dialogue between them. We'll of course review that when we get to that. That's a summer episode. But of course David Jason and Brian Truman work together as the Weasels, with David Jason playing the chief. Look at that beautiful prop of the crystal ball there. The famous "very nice" slogan there, catchphrase. Now, a few bits and pieces do survive from this episode. Like I say, a lot of the costumes. Madame Pastelengro's costume survives today. The tent that they're in, I believe that survives. There's bits and pieces. So this is where the henchman is, you know, Toad's totally falling for it, of course. The henchman is building up, you know, obviously he's seeing nothing, but he's building up this thing of, you know, Toad's going to be knighted, he's going to be honoured. And now he's building up to something, you know, that can all disappear unless Toad does something. So he's got Toad all worked up, excited. The Weasels know how to play Toad, you know. And this is why Toad's such a lovable character. We know he's gullible, we know he's an idiot, but we love him for that. So he's childlike, he's very easily convinced, especially when it's to do with him and he benefits. And so Toad, of course, can be a nasty character, but this is where we see Toad at his best. He's a complete idiot, and we love him for it. It's as simple as that, and we root for him. You know, we want him. We'd love to see him knighted and become Lord Toad. Wouldn't that be a great episode? Spin-off. But deep down we know it's not going to happen.
But it's quite clear what it means, Mr. Toad. Sir Toad, if you don't... What does it mean, dear old lady? It means that a tall, dark stranger with a foreign voice is going to ask you...
Look at the animation of Toad there with the eyes, very nice. And this was, you know, I've got my guide here. I always think the kings, if you like, of Toad, Barry Purvis and Paul Berry. But here we have Barry directing again, and we have Andrea Lord and Monica McCartney, and I don't know which of them would have played Toad. Again, Barry, if you can tell us, I'd love to know. You know, again, this is series 2. Did everybody have their own characters, or did they animate everything in the scene? I think throughout the series, animators had their own characters. I think that's what they stuck with, which I've said before wasn't the case where I worked on things. We would animate whatever we have in the scene on set.
Are you sure she said you'd be Lord Toad of Riverbank? Well, yes. More or less.
I like how we see the back of Toad here. I really like that. Again, really nice directing. We don't need to see the front of Toad. He looks more embarrassed. He looks more sort of, you know, they're really making fun of him, and even turning around there is just lovely. And that, again, lovely direction again. I'm sure Barry would have, you know, come up with this. If you're going to be jealous, mean, sarcastic, you know, you've got 3 words there, 3 friends that you can point to, and then building up to and rotten. So lovely pacing. Rule of threes again. 3 times. It's the way David Jason delivered it again. Now this again, I love this scene as well. You know, apart from the scene with hitting the mallet with the bell, testing the strength, this is my second favourite scene. Chief Weasel here, playing a Russian. His costume survives. When I looked at the archive, I found that overcoat, recognised it instantly, all the patches there and everything. And not the beard though, I don't know what happened to the beard. I love that. I am, what do you say, tall. Beautifully done. I mean, David Jason dubbing with himself. And because the voices overlap, we assume that he recorded them separately. Maybe some of it was done, he interchanged between them. Oh, but it's seamless. I do love this episode. I mean, the comedy is fantastic. It really is. And this is why I find this so funny as an adult. Not just because I'm a fan of this series. I genuinely find this very funny. And I've said before, my dad does. My dad finds this episode hysterical. Keeping up that Russian accent. And what you said before was that, oh, don't touch it, don't touch the beard. I mean, do touch it. He goes back to his Russian voice. Wonderful comedy. Now, I love the music choice here as well. If you probably can't hear me talking, but the music choice here in the background is a track called Village March, a rare musical track that you hear in other episodes very clearly, but here it's like in the background, and it's like a band playing. And in this scene, Badger actually says, "I think you'll go and listen to the band." Lovely. So English, isn't it? I find a deck chair, listen to the band. Very nice. So it's nice that a band is there. We don't see the band, but we hear them playing. We play in this incidental piece, and it just works so well. So this is typical Mole again. Really nice character development. Badger and Ratty, you could argue they're the most sensible ones. They wouldn't fall for this fortune-telling nonsense, but Mole would go along. He wouldn't take it seriously, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Mole, out of all of them, would do that. And I always think of Mole as kind of childlike as well. Definitely not in the same way that Toad is. But if you think back to the film, how he's discovering the world, and I love this scene as well. This build-up of the laughing, and the way the car goes here is nice. I mean, normally you wouldn't anticipate and go back first, but in animation you do. The only thing I would say though, it feels like he's gone such a long way and suddenly he's back again. Doesn't quite work, but I do like that. Now you look at them, it's sophisticated humour because we know that the others know that it's the weasel. The chief knows, and you can see him, the way he looks embarrassed, and he's thinking, Toad, just shut up. Toad is the idiot still. And the pacing here, the timing of this, of Toad realising and then cutting to the weasel, and he's off. And he managed to fit in off ski, keeping up the Russian. And it's lovely, really nice. Now the other thing I would say though is Badger knows, but Ratty and Mole react. So it's like, ooh, like that. So they don't realise it's the chief until it's revealed, which I always find a bit odd because you think they would know. But again, there are many episodes like that where Ratty and Mole don't always realise that the weasel's behind these disguises. But Badger, of course, Badger always knows. And this is a lovely line. I'm going to tell you about your future. Lovely episode. And there's this nice ending here. Clearing up after everything. Look at that composition as well, how Toad is separated from the others. You've got this cluster of Ratty, Mole and Badger, and then Toad, a chair between them. I love that separation. He feels a bit sort of isolated. And it's interesting how we're referring to Lord Toad. He would have liked to be Lord Toad. There is a later episode in Series 4 called Lord Toad, where again he almost becomes Lord Toad, but again that's the weasels. That one's coming up actually. We're reviewing that soon. That's the last one for spring actually. That one. So there we go, Mayday. Like I say, absolutely love it. There's very little I don't like about that one. I know Barry. I know you said to me once you felt it was a weak script, but I personally I don't see it. I love it. I think it's a very witty script. Yes, it's a story that we do see many times of Toby being fooled by the weasels, but I think it's got an edge to it. I think with this Madame Pastalengo thing and using the fortune teller to try and convince Toby, I think that's refreshing, and there's some lovely character development in it, and just lovely pacing. Again, it's weird when you know something so well, like a film or something, that you've seen so many times, it becomes so ingrained that you find it hard to fault it. You think it's so wonderful, and that for me is one of, probably I'd say, a handful of episodes that really mean something to me, that are really what I would call classic, absolutely classic. Yeah, because it was on that video, Spring Follies, that was released so many times, re-released. So there we go, Mayday. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And like I say, Barry, if you are watching, please do leave comments. And Barry kindly left a comment a while back on the Toad Astronomer on Facebook. But yeah, everyone, please do comment. Let's keep this going. Let's keep this fan base building. Thank you to everyone who's subscribing, and thank you to everyone who is leaving comments. And yeah, please do continue to watch. I will keep it up. Next week, I will be reviewing. Oh, where is it? School Days. If you know that one, School Days, a classic one that was released on a double video with Hot Air back in the 80s. One of those watch and play videos with a colouring book. Love to find one of those packaged if anyone has one. I'm sure there's probably none left in the world now, but you never know. So, I shall get going now. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week for School Days. Have a good bank holiday weekend, and I'll see you then. Cheerio then.